wealthy philosophy. You shouldn't ignore it. It's like the elephant in the room.
Yeah, I just think that's presumptuous to say that somebody can't appreciate something because of their background or where they came from or something else. I don't think derived energy lacks empathy or sincerity. So I just think it's kind of a bogus argument.
That makes it sound negative, but can't I have it both ways? Can't I say that as an individual, I judge him individually, and frankly, the anti-natalists and the Democrats from the wealthy side of things, at least they have a conscience? Can't I say that's positive and still notice that, okay, well, you're not really getting some of the arguments. Even the people I disagree with, I see how they get the argument better than you, because you're coming from such a level of privilege, you just don't understand the real fucking world.
Well, I'm just saying, I guess if you were applying the argument to Professor Anton or to be serious, who seem to me to be textbook cases of psychology over any sincere philosophy, then
I'm open to that. I don't.
Well, I'm just saying. I guess I'm just saying that I'd rather not do that because I just don't see the point in it. You have to deal. The bottom line is you have to deal with the arguments. You have to deal with the arguments people make. So I'd rather just do that instead of dealing with their psychology. Because the bottom line is you have to deal with their rhetoric.
Really? Okay, wait. So I have to deal with Anton's arguments when I already think he's full of shit, and he's recommending people watch TJ Does Dallas. And I'm supposed to take that as an argument, not as a psychological comment. This guy says there's no good arguments, no good conversations on the net to be had unless he gets some other professor on here. And yet he recommends TJ Does Dallas for watching. Really? And I can't judge that on a psychological level?
I just said you can. I'm just saying it's a conversation I'm not terribly interested in. I mean, I'd rather deal with the arguments. I'm not saying. I'm just saying we're all vulnerable to that psychoanalysis, and I don't appreciate it when people are applying it to me. So it just sort of pisses me off, and I get it a lot. You know that. I mean, my haters love to play the psychology card.
My point is you get a lot of it anyway, which isn't fair. You handle it pretty well, which is to your credit. You know, you fury back at people, but you know, whatever. That's how you handle it. I mean, that's one reason I'm tolerant, because hey. So, no, well, let me finish. If you handle it well, why should these people be treated like they're above it? You have to handle it anyway. So you're going to treat them like they're above it, but you have to deal with it anyway. They get out of it, and how is that informative to people or fair or any way you want to judge it? How is that the best result?
Well, I guess I'm just saying I don't think I need to go there. Is all I'm saying. I mean, I don't think.
Life isn't fair.
Yeah, I don't think I have to argue with Professor Anton's gibberish by pointing out where he's from or, you know, his academic status. I don't think I have to do that. But whatever. I'm just saying it would be fair for somebody to do it just because it seems pretty transparent.
I was listening to that. Yeah, that's sort of the ultimate reasonable thing. I could see how you're just saying you don't see how it's worth it either, which is why I talk about it in Stick'em, and I don't devote a lot of video time to it because I don't see a way to make it really useful. But I do think it's something that's just getting missed because we're all have been scared politically out of looking at things in terms of where you came from economically. And I'm from the middle. You can criticize me as a rich American from the more actual hard-working middle class, or you can criticize me as being too working class if you're an elitist. So, I mean, I'm in a position where it's not like I can't point the finger without the finger being pointed back at me, but even I see how I think there is something to this. You know, there is something to where Kerry or the Kennedys came from. It's separate from where their granddaddy came from, and
well, let's be clear. I mean, the Kennedys were educated in the best communist colleges of the world. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They were fully versed in Marxism and all of that shit. So their kids were very different than they were in the sense that they got a very liberal education. But let's not even go there for the moment. Let's talk about a related subject. I mean, I didn't listen to your book reading. Oops, your book reading videos, but the title was intriguing. You know, women, whatever, blah blah blah. And so, women thing is always a real problem on YouTube because that's sort of a taboo, right? I mean, women get away with fucking murder, you know, on YouTube. I mean, they say this preposterous crap. Like, to be serious, she deserves to be just miced and diced into little fucking pieces with the crap she pulls. You know, like she's the greatest humanitarian on planet Earth, and if you really care about suffering, you give your money to Doctors Without Borders, and you'll quit talking about other things that don't matter. The only thing that matters is giving your money to Doctors Without Borders, for Christ's sake. Do you care about suffering? I mean, nobody, well, man could not get away with that crap.
Well, the H.G. Wells thing, I never read. I wouldn't watch reading videos myself, so I totally sympathize with that. But the H.G. Wells thing was interesting in just that it's so ultra-liberal that since it was like 1905, some of his liberal things come out sounding old-fashioned. But, you know, with women, I thought women should be paid to have, you would hate this idea, pay them to have children. And partly because they're not that good for other things, so it's a little sexist.
Yeah, a little.
If the kids get better grades, they would go ahead and get paid more, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to admire.
Wait, that isn't what you were interested in. Okay, the part that you would probably be interested in is that basically you can have a welfare state. You can go into as much welfare as you need, but it does count in an account, you know, as debt. You never have to pay it. But if you're in debt to the state, you can't have kids. So I think education is free, so that doesn't count, but most people would have to have an income while they were going to school, and that would count against your debt. So like most students would probably not be able to have kids until they're 25 or something, paid off their, if they worked while they were in school though, they'd be all set right away. So, and see, I'm sympathetic to that.
Really interesting.
Well, you know, compared to old hack sneakers. But anyway, yeah, well, I think we can do it with all these positive. You can have positive incentives.
So remember that chick I was telling you about that had like the upside down cross on her forehead? Well, I totally got to fuck her the other day. She came over and stayed in my bed naked for like 3 days. And then
yeah, well, how much heroin did you give her? Come on, let's get the specifics. Okay, what drugs exactly?
This is a good story. Shut up. This story. Shut up. Okay. This chick is like hot as fuck. Hot as fuck all weekend. And then she says, "Okay, I'll probably see you tomorrow." And then so I get dressed up and I go sit and wait outside for her. And then I see her drive by with her boyfriend who just got out of jail in his van. It's like, I didn't think that's what she meant when she said she would probably see me.
Yeah, well.
Wow, that's great. You should write a screenplay on that one.
Right, you can't make that shit up. You can't make that shit up.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Trust me. Yeah, you know, I've seen people make up better than that.
I had a girlfriend that ended up going back to her husband, yeah. Hard.
I had one leave me for some asshole in Africa. Some journalist fuckwit divorcing his wife.
See? Typical. And yet that's a high class kind of dump, you know, so you should be able to deal with it.
Well, that's true. And I was completely low class, so I could understand it perfectly. Except I did want her dead for 10 years. But I got over it. And everything was fine.
Gary, if your lover decides, I think I'll go for some high class guy that is working in Africa, then that by extension, you know, it's like, okay, that's, you're in the rank. You're like you versus the president of Barumba.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't get left for like some drug addict on the street or something. So yeah, I mean, you feel okay about that. You know, if you're gonna get dumped, at least I got dumped for something definitely better than me.
I mean, it's just, how tall are you? It's just due to your height, but still, I mean, you should be happy.
No, the height was good though. We matched that way. She was tall.
Men, you know,
She was 6 feet tall. Tall girl.
Would you guys have to do 7 billion educated people or 7 billion stupid people? Ignorant.
Blah 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 blah. Some asshole is talking apparently.
Well, what kind of question is it? I mean, it's obvious, right? I'd rather have 7 billion educated people. We have to stop the Iraq war to support that.
7 billion ignorant people. And like some people, like, I mean, we have so many people who are ignorant in the world already. And, you know, it's going, it's perpetuating as it is. But I mean, like,
Jerry.
Well-educated people stay on the level of YouTube, and what is the world?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
It'll be a freak of nature. Turn it up.
Yeah, well, whatever. You gotta turn up your mic, but it's a stupid conversation like that. We can't solve that problem, okay? You gotta. I mean, it has nothing to do with genetics. It has to do with fucking infrastructure and civilization. You want to buy the world civilization? What are you gonna do?
Jerry, what do you think?
Sorry, my mic is close to me now. My question is more like, I mean, like, you know, if life is just going to keep perpetuating itself, do you want to educate everybody on the same level, or do you want to, you know, like keep a certain percentage of it well educated and a certain percent low?
Well, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So what? Just so you could take advantage of them? Yeah, that's really being intelligent, right? So that would demonstrate how the intelligence is so much better because they're exploitionist, evil motherfuckers. I mean, so that's just a joke in itself. What's the fucking point of being intelligent if you're evil enough to exploit somebody else's ignorance? So that would suck.
I wasn't arguing in that favor. I wasn't making. I was asking a question. Like, I mean, I wasn't really all here. I mean, like, would you want to be on top or would you want to be on bottom?
Well, whatever. I mean, I think I've answered the question. Yeah, why would I want either one? Why would I want to be exploited and why would I want to be an exploiter? I mean, both of them are stupid goddamn roles to play for anything with a goddamn brain at all.
Gary, I'm curious, what do you think? So YouTube's gotten really big, so there's a cross-section of people, including people we don't necessarily watch their videos a lot, but you run into them, you know what I'm talking about. They dance in front of the camera or do a song or whatever. But what do you think the systematic bias is? I mean, like, there's an obvious side to that where it's all of us that like to hear ourselves talk, to put it in the insulting side of things. But what do you, is it all, I mean, what do you think, what kind, so let's say you can go on YouTube and get a cross-section of what people think. What's the systematic bias? I mean, are they mostly, it's the narcissistic view, or is it a real cross-section, or is it the people that aren't shy, but I don't think that, because for some reason shy people make blogs. I mean, what do you think the bias is? When you see the cross-section, do you think this is what America or slash the world thinks, or do you think this is what the, you know, the people that like to go to the mall think, or who is it?
Yeah, well, I don't think it has anything to do with any kind of demographic in the real world, unfortunately. I mean, look at it. I mean, look at the tiny amount of people that are doing this. Look at the little bit of intellectuals you have on YouTube. I mean, we can count the number on our fingers and toes, right? I mean, you're gonna start running out of names when you get to 20, and that's, you know, we're talking 7 billion people. We got 20 people that know how to articulate an argument talking on YouTube. That's pretty fucking dismal. And then what's the rest of YouTube? Yeah, the rest of YouTube is, you know, watch my cat, you know, fart out of its ears, or whatever the fuck it is. And or else it's just somebody doing whatever, bad sitcom imitations or something. I mean, and it's a childish audience. I mean, the regular people don't even know how to use their computers. They don't even know what YouTube is. I mean, I don't even know what the real world demographics are, but what part of the real world actually gets some of their entertainment or knowledge from YouTube? And what tiny percentage is that? I mean, you see the view numbers. I mean, somehow we all get 300 or 400 or 500 views for a video, but it's just like, you know, is that all there is? That's it? I mean, what other conversation is there? And that's why I think people like Dawkins and the rest of these fucking elites have to get in. We have to get to a medium that they're on. We need some way to get eyeballs, and you know, we're not good enough, apparently.
I guess the only way to get a lot of people.
The thing is, well, I mean, I don't, if you want to be super popular, there's a weird thing, because if that means making a few $1,000s a month, like Onision or someone, it obviously is possible. In terms of people actually talking about intellectual things, I mean, I think there's a multiplication factor. And I don't think I'm being optimistic, because I don't really care, but I'm just saying the kind of people that do listen to you, or and maybe even to a certain degree, you know, since you cuss, especially you, since you are emoting, people that can listen to you and still see the issues, you know, there's an element that those people are also the people that are talking philosophy at a party, even though somebody's going, what, you're talking about heavy issues at a party? You know what I mean? And there's a multiplication factor in the psyche of mankind, but I don't think it's enough to do any good. I'm not saying that means it's all lovely and wonderful. I'm just saying that those numbers, of course they're going to be less than the guy who has a cat that farts out its ears. That's pretty funny. So, you know, I mean, it's not a bad thing if there's 10,000 views on that and 1,000 views on some old video of yours. You know, that's normal, and that's really, your views are 100 more effective, so it's really like 100,000 views, because those people are going to talk about what they saw.
I mean, like, when it comes down to it, it's sort of like, I mean, according to your own argument, it's like, what's the point even in your own argument, you know, like...
Well, the point is I see value in the argument, okay? Just the process of arguing has value.
I mean, like, what value does even your own argument...
You already said that, fucker! Alright, now I'm going to answer you. There's value in the argument itself.
Okay, I could tell you
There's value in the argument itself, okay? Just exposing ideas to each other, arguing it back and forth has value, because it ends up coalescing the argument into something else, okay? It morphs it into its reality, so to speak. It tests it. It refines it. Okay, I've become better at what I'm doing because of it. So that's one value in and of itself. All right, as a medium, the point is this YouTube thing as a medium, is it fail, or is there a way to use it? Okay, I mean, we should be at least as good as public television. We should be at least able to attract that audience. And that's the part that's pissing me off, that for some fucking reason we're not doing that, and we really should be.
Well, the thing is,
YouTube is a very valuable tool for the human race. I completely agree. It's an open door for people to get their ideas out. I totally agree to that.
Well, I know, but it's not doing it. The point is it's not doing that, okay? It's not talking to the world. It needs to get on cable TV. It needs to get in the world's face.
How many views do you have over all your videos? You have...
I know, it's the same people. The same people have watched 2,000 videos, right? There's like 300 people, and they've watched 2,000 of my videos. All right? But it's only 200 fucking people.
I think that's the crux of the argument. You know, like, it's a circuit jerk.
No, but Gary, that's not, whatever. I mean, 200 people is a big group of people, but anyway, to all be talking about something, you know, intellectual, it's less philosophical. That's not true because, like, I look at my things with just a couple thousand. I look at my views every once in a while with just a couple thousand subscribers, and if I'm not making videos, that means 400 people watched old videos and stuff. If I do make videos, it's more like 1,000. Gary has what, 4 to 10 or 5? I don't know how many subscribers anybody has, but a lot more than me. So, you know, he's got thousands of people. That's like being on the lecture circuit and filling 1,000-person auditorium every day. If you could get paid for that, you'd be making $1 million a year. So we can't get paid, but in terms of the message getting out, and considering how voluntary the whole process is for people that watch it, that is not insignificant. You know, I mean, the lecture circuit is significant. It makes, I mean, there's something there as far as it, but to me the value is that I change my opinion. And so, for example, with Gary, I mean, and the whole anti-natalist, they've become aware of the term anti-natalism. They become aware of Benatar, who has a pretty good fucking argument to back him up as far as that goes. I disagree. So even though I don't agree with the anti-natalist, the people going, I'm trying to convince Piro would feel like that's impossible, who gives a fuck about that? They've learned about Benatar and the word anti-natalism, and it's all gotten much more solid. So that's the benefit, you know, and if you look at that benefit in your own argument, then you'll realize, one, it is a benefit, and two, the time you spend with the trolls is questionable, because can you go to yourself, oh, I'm better off because I've learned how to handle mentally deficient people? No. So that's why they say don't feed the trolls. You can do it if you want, but basically, later on, you're going to say, at least I know the word anti-natalism.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying that we need to expand the audience. I think that's a given. I mean, this audience is 7 billion people, okay? And let's say that 2 billion of them have some internet access. We really should be attracting there should be more people on YouTube talking philosophy. This seems to be the best place to go to do it. It's what other medium is there that's better than this medium for arguing philosophy? I mean, this kicks fucking ass. Plato would love this shit. Aristotle would love this shit.
That's why I'm asking questions. That's all. I'm not trying to troll.
It's okay. Yeah, you just came in a little bit abruptly, and it's all right. All right. You just have to match our style. That's all. There's a little bit of lag, and so we end up talking over each other. It gets a little irritating, but we'll work it out. Okay. Well, that was that was probably the most intelligent thing I've ever heard Paul say. That was fucking incredible. Fucking A. He's always fooling us with all that, like, really, coherent and almost poetic. He speechifies in this poetic manner, and then he hits us with a hard, real fact like that. Just a hard, real blah. And you're just like, shit, Paul, you're so fucking right. You can do it any way. Any way, you can do it all ways.
I'm tired, and I'm trying to coalesce this thought. It's I think that you guys are right. You and Piro are right that the argument has benefit, but it's limited benefit. Because it's, what Gary's saying is that let's say that there's 2 billion people that have internet access. Well, a very tiny fraction of those people are ever going to care to listen to any philosophy whatsoever. They want the cute kittens and the look at my kid fall down and laugh at it shit. So, the limited benefit is what makes me think YouTube is almost completely worthless, because we can sit here all night and talk to each other, but if we don't break out of this little group of people, then what benefit is it really,
Well, even the intellectual audience, we haven't even won them over. You know what I'm saying? That's the part that's pissing me off. Where is the public television style viewer? He isn't fucking watching YouTube videos. And that pisses me off, because he should be.
How many people are watching public television, though?
Well, I think it's, a million or something, or more than that. I mean, there's not that, some of those shows got a lot of views.
It's just what's the point in anything above antinatalism? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't disagree with the argument of antinatalism. What I'm disagreeing with is arguing at all about it. If in the end, like, we're all just fucking dust in the wind. Anyway.
Well, it matters because that's like saying, well, why does it matter how you die? I mean, it's a big difference between dying badly and dying well. So right there's your answer, okay? Well, you want to die suffering from cancer over a 3-year period, or do you want to die, in 2 weeks from a brain aneurysm? I mean, there's a choice here to be made. You can do it sloppy and slow, or you can do it graceful and fast. But that's a separate subject, so I don't want to change the subject yet. I guess I'm still going to argue that I still consider what I'm doing here on YouTube practice. So for me, this is just practice because, yeah, it has no real productive end yet. It has nothing I can convert it into. But my argument would be is doing this might get me in a position or get the argument moved to a place where that will have some value. So yeah, if we can move or migrate the word antinatalism into some other conversation, we can make Dawkins say the word or somebody else say the word, then we've accomplished something.
I think that the type of audience that listens to Dawkins or any of these other guys that you're talking about is too limited. You know what I mean? It's not those people that we need to win over. It's not those people that need to listen to this shit. It's the people that are fucking watching people jerk off, and that's it. So,
and the celebrities or something. Maybe we gotta, give a dinner for celebrities or something. Maybe we can get like the ex-celebrities. Maybe we can only afford like the Leave It to Beaver guy and a few other people. Maybe we can get them to migrate. But yeah, you need some luck somewhere. You need some kind of magic moment. That's for sure.
You guys in the jungle.
Yeah. This is like market Gary to Hollywood somehow.
I'm back in the jungle.
Well, I think, yeah, Hollywood's an example just because, one good sci-fi flick. Look what The Matrix did for the term virtual reality and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, a good flick wouldn't hurt.
What's that fucker's name?
No, it was Lawnmower Man. Lawnmower Man. Lawnmower Man did it. Matrix is a poser.
Well, whatever. I'm just saying that's the one that did in the pop culture. Okay, pop culture.
Just kidding, it was the Matrix. Matrix is awesome because even in philosophy class they teach you this brain in a vat kind of thought experiment, which is basically the Matrix, and nobody ever fucking understood it, no matter, like how people always say, you make no sense. Well, it was just one of those cases. Then the Matrix comes out and everybody's like, oh yeah, of course I understand that. So it was
yeah, but now they still don't understand it because the Matrix was such bad propaganda that they still don't get it. That the idea of a perfect program was a lie. That there's the humans would love the perfect program. They would love it. They would all love being Hollywood celebrities, all living in Hollywood, all fucking the starlets, all playing golf at Pebble Beach, all having dinner with Schwarzenegger. They would all love that life.
Yeah, I agree. But there were a lot of things. It just failed. The first movie had all this promise, and like they should have had it be that Zion was just another level of reality, and that you really were trapped in it. And it's a better metaphor, and it's better science fiction. It's screwed up in so many ways. But the first movie did teach this metaphor. And it had so much potential. The way other people have ended it and written their fan ideas of how it should have gone were much better. So there's a lot of potential in the first movie. The rest, I still enjoyed watching them, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, they're watchable. I mean, the first one's better than the rest, like you say, but, yeah. I mean, it's a good theme for a movie.
I think making 2 movies at once is bad. Doesn't work.
I was trying to agree with you.
Well, that Lord of the Rings thing worked out pretty well.
with the idea of the Matrix. You know, whole idea. The first Matrix. I don't know about 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. But there's also this idea of the pre-Matrix. The thing that happened before the one.
Whatever the fuck that means. Thank you, Mr. Incoherent Man. That was excellent. You want to be an X-Man character. You want to be an X-Man character. Mr. Incoherent. Yeah, he just says a bunch of incoherent stuff, and he's so fucking amazing because he confuses the fuck out of everybody.
Yes, but I'm an expert. The fuck out of everybody. No, the thing is, it's what he was just talking about, what you were talking about, the part where when you make people happy, they reject it. And I agree with you that's not true, but there's a grain of truth in it, is that if you think that giving people the suburban lifestyle that's supposedly, Leave It to Beaver good, they would reject it. The Truman Show. But, of course, I agree with you that if you did it really right and engaged in their actual indulgences, then...
Yeah, really. Everybody would just hate being the Super Bowl hero. I mean, everybody would just hate winning the Super Bowl. Oh, that would just suck fucking goddamn donkey balls, right? Yeah, sure.
Don't we have some examples of people that are kind of already living that life and fucking hating it, though? Like these celebrities that could buy anything they want, don't ever have to do anything they don't want to do, could fuck anybody they wanted to, and they drink and smoke themselves into an early grave and wrap their cars around telephone poles and shit.
Yeah, well, no, it is an unsustainable thing. That's just because they can't sustain it. So look at the people that sustain, okay, like a Madonna or something. Because she was able to keep her career going. She was able to keep her confidence up. She could keep playing the game. And it's the people who, lose their mojo or whatever, and they're failures now, and they're has-beens, and those are the people that head for heroin and the rest of that shit. But I'm just saying, let's say you were just born into having $1 billion, you know what I mean? And you can play golf at the nicest golf courses, and you can fuck the nicest women, and you can have the nicest, music and restaurants and whatever you're into, and you can just do this every fucking day. You go to sleep on the nicest, softest, cleanest bed. You wake up in the nicest, cleanest, freshest air. I mean, you have the nicest cup of coffee, and you go do the same kind of shit every day. And you never catch a cold, and you never have the flu, and you never have any fucking headaches, and you're just I could do that every day for a long fucking time.
There's a show, this fucking celebrity rehab show, and I caught a couple of episodes of it a couple of seasons ago. And there was a kid that was just like what you mentioned. He was born into this billionaire family, didn't ever have to do shit. Never had to work, and the kid was a wreck.
Well, I'm just saying, though, I mean, let's start off with some sort of appreciation. So let's just take, we program you with false memories of hardship and delivering newspapers and being humiliated at school. So we give you false memories of burden and just to give you appreciation when you have it. And then you'll be okay. I'm just saying, you can do it right. You just have to have the right approach, and then you can do it right. So I'm just saying, we know we can do it right. We know that you could really enjoy having a vacation, Paul. That you could go to Bermuda, and you could know how to do it right. And you could do it for a week, you could do it for a month, you could probably do it for a year, you could probably do it for 10 years. Once you get the hang of it, you can do that poolside thing. No problem. I can do the pool. Yeah, I can do that. Oh, whatever. Then we can just remove your memory of the previous day, okay? How about that? Every night you go to sleep, it's like Groundhog Day, except you don't remember the day before, okay? Just like Groundhog Day, except you don't remember the day before. So yeah, that'll work out just fine then, won't it? Every day will be Christmas. people play video games fucking till they die. Okay, it happens in China of all places now. I mean, people are dying in China playing video games. So don't tell me virtual reality wouldn't be kick-ass.
Some guy died of a blood clot apparently 15 hours from playing video games like yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I win again.
That's how Ben Stein's kid died. He died playing like EverQuest or something for like 20 hours straight.
Ben Stein, oh, what a cunt. That's pretty funny though.
Yeah, dude.
You know, video games might just kill all of us. They might get
You really have to shut up. Your connection just sucks so bad. I mean, whatever. I mean, come on. You get a new modem.
Oh, sorry, I'm using a telephone.
Yeah, I know. I can tell.
I know. He's dialing in. Dialing in. The world is crazy, man.
How does that even work? Like that's like wow. I didn't even know that's the shit.
That's how it works.
He's dialing in from Pakistan, and we should respect that.
But he's pretty rude. But so I ain't gonna respect him. Fucker.
Fucker.
The thing about virtual reality is that people will still kill people in virtual reality over virtual reality.
Who cares? They're virtual people.
But it doesn't hurt
Who
anyone.
the fuck cares?
Suffers.
You could make like human sandwiches. You could have like you can make pyramids out of humans. Oh, let's look at the human pyramids. I mean, you can do anything you wanted. Who the fuck cares? They're not real people, bozo.
That's the whole point, is the actions don't affect anybody.
Except the person, I mean, like, what I mean, are these virtual people?
Duh. Everybody lives in a virtual world of their own. With their own, they could have 7 billion fake people in it. They could have 50 fake people in it. You could live on an island. You could live anywhere. Virtual reality could be anything. You don't have to interact with a single other real human consciousness. You could just interact with fake consciousnesses, just like a video game.
How do we kill all the animals? So we're the only ones doing the virtual reality thing.
The animals would be plastic, okay? They'd all be plastic. Like Walt Disney. We just make a Disney animatronics. All the animals be fake.
Who's going to maintain this virtual reality?
Oh, look, I'm not going to do virtual reality. This ain't the virtual reality night. I've argued all this shit in videos. I have a channel called VR. What's the name of my channel? What do you assholes know? VR something. VR for all or something, or VR for everyone. Yeah, VR. All for VR. Okay, so go on YouTube, look for a channel, All for VR. And I answer all of these inane, stupid questions over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I mean, you really don't have to think very hard. If you just think for a little while inside your own little head, you can answer all of your questions. There's always contingencies. There's always ways to fix a problem. You just solve the problem in your head, and then I won't have to do it for you. Becky! Yeah, that's pretty cool. All that moving around and stuff. The girl was fucking his head. That was really fucked up. Is that what you saw? I saw a girl fucking his head. I don't know what you saw, but that's what I saw. Fuck you. Oh, fuck you too. Can you say any other little wordies? I can say shit, knucker, 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 nookie, nookie, nookie. I can say crappy, appy, appy, apple. Can you say other words? Huh? Oh, we don't have any other words, huh?
This is the kid, and pretty much the people that raised him, I'm going to assume, are the kids too that we need to get to listen to philosophy. And I'll be goddamned if I know how to do that.
It's
Like,
not really the audience I'm trying to migrate to, Paul. Unlike you, I do think there are some people, I don't know, 1 million or 2 at least, that do have IQs over 80. I do think it's out there.
Look at it. It's like it's only a subset of the population. How many people are supposed to be born philosophical? How many does it really take? I mean, they're pretty influential in a lot of ways among friends. A lot of groups of friends have some philosophical person that helps talk to them about those issues. I mean, how many people does it take to be philosophical for the human race? 10% seems like a lot.
Well, I just don't think it's so. I don't know how you can not be philosophical, so I just don't get why we're having a problem. You can make the fucking Flintstones philosophical. You can make anything into and I'm just saying that the medium is dead. You know, we have gone common denominator dumb, so the whole culture is dumb. But I mean, I'm just saying this isn't that hard. You don't need to read all these books and do all this shit to be called a philosopher. All you need is a little bit of fucking goddamn. You know, it doesn't take volumes of information.
Oh, come on. There are other cultures that show that you should be able to get to a 10% philosophical, which is enough to have some philosophical sitcoms and stuff. Even in the U.S. you see it, but it's more like 1%. But I mean, yeah, I agree. But what's it going to be, 20 or 30? I mean, people are learning how to fix cars and shit like that. Not everybody's going to be philosophical. So, like, the goal of every potential person, you know, and this would include people doing it for just a little while to expose themselves to it, you know, it's going to be 20% or 10%. It's not going to be a majority.
we got to humiliate people because we got to force people to know something about the real world they live in. So, in my opinion, we got to get a little more aggressive about this shit. And I was thinking about this the other day because I was thinking about the stupid Tea Party thing again. You know, just because this stupid tea tax thing has always bothered me, and the whole Tea Party and the whole bullshit. And I finally figured it out. Like I didn't have all the pieces in my head put together. I mean, I knew it was a trade war, and I knew it was British tea in the harbor, but it was cheaper tea than the American tea. But I finally figured out what the racket was. And so the colonists were technically correct, because what the racket was is the English Tea Company applied the tax on both kinds of tea. So they applied the tax both on American tea and British tea, but they were subsidizing the British tea by the same amount of the tax. So technically there was no tax on the British tea because the British Tea Company was basically paying the tax for the customer. And so that's why the British tea ended up being cheaper, is because the British Tea Company was both collecting the tax, because the British Tea Company was basically owned by the fucking king. So through the taxation, they were able to essentially increase the price of both kinds of tea, but the British were getting a 1 cent per pound profit on the tax. So anyway, I just want to clear. But how many people on planet Earth know that truth? That would be a question, right? Out of 7 billion people, how many people know that that's the truth of the Boston Tea Party?
Yeah, very few. But the thing is, Steve, what I do that maybe you don't do is I give credit to like conservatives that know those facts, but still are butt-headed about what they mean, as opposed to people that don't even bother to know the facts. So when I say like 20%, I mean, this is people that really think about that stuff, but you can see in Britain even, which is no saint of a culture, that they have a much, more of an 80% knowing basic facts. Like, if they disagreed with you, they would still know the facts that argue for your position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I just wonder, though, if Darwin was born in America, would the British still be religious? Because they would we reject that an American asshole. I mean...
Oh, totally. That's an interesting thing. I've known a lot of British people. I work with some and have, but it's an interesting thing what you're saying, because right now they're having a crisis in their budget and they're dropping down to second world status scientifically, which no matter how much the British Empire has dropped, They've always stayed at the top of science. They have the Royal Academy and the top, most prestigious organizations in the world. I mean, except for Nobel, but as far as actual organizations, they're super present. And it's because, yeah, Newton, Darwin, there's a million other ones. Even Einstein got popularized because a British guy was willing to collaborate with him during the fucking war. And this helped popularize Einstein because the British had such a scientific view that they were willing to go, so he's a German, and it turned out to be a Jew and someone that really was oppressed by Hitler, so it all made sense. But anyway, I think actually that was World War I, the end of World War I. But, but anyway, so the British are living off of that. A lot of the British Enlightenment is because they had some scientists that did that, and it is easy to go, yay, Lance Armstrong's American, so I like Viking. Yay, Newton was popular for 300 years and still is. Yeah, he's British. Yeah, there's a ton of that British Empire still left over, and even Greatex, you can talk to Greatex, he'd probably admit that. Those guys do live off of that. Poor guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just kind of sad that intellectuals aren't very smart. It's kind of disappointing.
Let me run this back real quick. Pyro, you were talking earlier about only needing 10 or 20% in a society or something. Like, for me, that doesn't even come close to what you need. 10 or 20% isn't going to cut it. You get 10 or 20% to be philosophical, and it's going to be a 10 or 20% marginalized minority that's all sitting around and talking while the rest of society herp-derps its way to fucking controlling the culture. 10 and 20% doesn't even scratch the fucking surface.
Yeah, and that's, you say herp-derp, and that's exactly what has to be done. I mean, the herper-derpers have to be humiliated into proper submission. They have to learn a little bit of fucking humility and know that their fucking opinion, like I watched this video from this little 13-year-old twat girl, I don't know, she might have been 22, but she sounded like she was 13, right, talking about her atheism, and it made me want to throw up. I mean, she couldn't be more ignorant and stupid and ill-informed and moronic, and she's talking on YouTube like somebody should be listening to her, like she has some authority, like she has some wisdom to offer anybody. She's a fucking cartoon. What the fuck is she doing talking opinions? She has nothing, no qualification whatsoever.
I'm for the shaming and all that in a sense, which is why I don't I don't take a bunch of time going, amazing atheists, you're worthless, because okay, I think those guys that they attack should be engaged. But when that's all done, you're not going to have more than 10, 20% of real intellectual engagement. If it seems like it's 50%, it's because half of that group is just posing. So it's because those people are more influential. It doesn't matter if you're a lawyer or you just clean pools or you whatever you do. If you're smart, surprisingly enough, while people are blowing you off, they are listening. They're pretending that they got the idea themselves when they heard it from their pool cleaner or from their lawyer or whatever. They're pretending they came up with the idea. There's a lot more influence for the people that take things thoughtfully than those people ever see in their own life. People don't give you money for it, but they steal your ideas, and in the end, since your ideas are better, that is in your best interest.
Well, look at Russia and ballet, right? They made it part of their artistic culture. So most Russians had some information, some knowledge of ballet, some knowledge of the arts. So I'm just saying, we can do this. I mean, it's not like we can't get people to be part of it, make it part of their culture, to be educated, to be informed, to be knowledgeable.
Right.
Okay, but they don't have to read every book on the fucking bookshelf. They don't have to read every fucking one to know how to talk literally about reality.
Artistic.
So Paul's hands up. We got to respect that. We really got to respect that. Paul had to go to the trouble to lift that big heavy hand all the way up in the air like that, and so we got to respect it.
I'm getting that cutting you off flag, which sometimes at the end of a sentence sounds like you're done. Sorry, interrupted you. But
I think both. I think I think in a way both of you have a little bit too rosy of a view on this. Like Gary, you said the idiots need to be shamed. Okay, I agree. Okay, let's shame the idiots, but the problem is that if it's the 10% shaming the 90%, the 90%, their entire family, their entire support group are idiots like they are. So now you're the odd man out. They get reinforced by everybody else around them, which causes them to block you. You know what I mean? And
well, that's why it has to be the right man in the right shoes, in the right suit. You know, it has to be the Obama or the Martin Luther King or the whatever thing you want to talk about. You have to have the magic charm and charisma, the Clinton thing, whatever the thing is. Carl Sagan even. You got to have that thing, okay, that enables you to talk to these people in a very patronizing way without fucking clicking off their I'm going to fight back mode thing, where they really go into being subservient and understanding, oh, that guy is so much fucking smarter than me, I'm going to listen to him.
I mean, Gary, to fine-tune the words that you're using, because the words patronizing can't be right. But yeah, you got into the gist of what I would say, which is that you have to engage these people, but you can't engage them by saying, oh, what you say is good, we're two equals. So you have to engage them and still say, but this, you know, and there's an element, it's not literal hopefully, but an element of you're human and I respect you as a human, but boy, this is stupid, and my respect for you means that I wish you weren't so stupid. You know, so it looks patronizing. There's an element of not being weak about it that could look patronizing because you're treating them, you know, like they're a patron to your business, which is sort of flattering, but also getting them to do what you want. I think, you know, you have to engage people and treat them like humans. We've all had, if we're over 30 and we're honest about ourselves, we've all acted crazy and had nutty ideas, just crazy ideas that we can understand people that have into their 50s some crazy ideas. That's my view.
Well, I'm just saying, it's either way, it's kind of a propaganda war, unfortunately. You have to play the game in the war you're in, and so that's the weapon you have to use, blah, 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 blah. So I'm not against that. I'm just saying that, yeah, you have to sort of compromise the message a little bit, but I'm just saying that we can migrate to it. That's all. My only argument is that there needs to be a little bit of force applied, where we acknowledge that there are certain things that we have to pay tribute to as a society, as a civilization. We have to pay tribute to these things. And like I said, the Russians sort of did that with the arts and certain things, and we've got to do it as a culture to save our culture. We've got to force people to be culturally literate.
And I think it's a numbers game. I think that's why we're fucked. I think it's a numbers game. I think if you've got Pyro's very generous estimate or generous goal of 10% versus the 90%. In a capitalistic society, the 90% are going to drive culture. You know what I mean? They're going to drive what they get, and they're going to get what they want. And what they want is to be stupid.
Well, I don't know if they want to, but yeah, they want stupid things, and so they will be stupid because they want stupid things. So yes, you're right there.
But their stupid things get boring. To get fed by things like a Kubrick film or someone that injects intellectualism, because eventually it gets boring for them. So those, very slowly, 100 years after the fact, those people in the popular culture are feeding off the innovation of 100 years ago into the cutting edge of the subculture that's actually paying attention to things, right or wrong, right? I mean, people that are
well,
totally
I know,
wrong.
but look, let's make an argument. Where we had more hope, Pyro, was in 1940 when an elite group of people controlled what Hollywood produced. Okay, it was much more intellectual, much more, it had a lot more beef to it, okay? It has no beef now because it's completely drawn by demographic.
Fucking communist.
Well, it doesn't matter. The point.
What McCarthy put in his.
I'm not gonna argue. I'm not arguing that, Pyro. That's not the point of the argument, Pyro. So shut the fuck up. The point of the argument is that it wasn't a democracy. Okay? Now it's a democracy of media, of popularity, of media statistics, of demographics, of what sells more product. That's what's driving who's creating the message. All right, the message is no longer being created by an elitist group, and we need elites to be creating the message, not bad elites, good elites. But you need the elitist advantage to improve the human race. If you allow the democracy to improve the human race, it will fuck the human race.
Okay, okay. Well, the media elite, right now there is the Murdoch. Maybe he's been taken down. If he's taken down, it might be a distributed internet kind of thing where there's a lot of independent mini elites and stuff like that, which is much more appropriate.
But let's call Murdoch what he was, though. Murdoch was nothing. Murdoch was not an elite. Murdoch was feeding people what they wanted to hear. That's why his shit sold.